What's up, everybody? It's Ken here, and I'm just getting my day started. It's 6 o'clock in the morning as I record this video, and I'm in my home office. And this is where my day starts. My work day starts every day at 6 a.m. And I want to just chat with you a little bit about how you can get yourself out of the grind. If you're somebody who you know there's more for you in life, you know you can make more money, you want to make more money. If you're not happy with the way you're living your life right now, if there's just not enough money left at the end of the month, if you don't get to enjoy great vacations, if you don't get to enjoy creating memories with your family, if you want to make more money in your life, then you need to pay attention to this.
Hey, my name's Ken Dunn, and I'm a real estate investor. I want to welcome you to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. On this show, I'm going to interview elite level real estate investors from all over North America, and I'm going to help you to see one thing that all successful real estate investors have in common. They built their portfolios without using a dime of their own money. I've got a portfolio of $300 million in real estate. That includes resorts, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and I built the entire portfolio without using a dime of my own money. Real estate is a business that anybody can get into, but the strategies that those tight real estate investors use to build massive portfolios have been kept secret for decades. Now, because of this show, I'm going to reveal them to you. So let's get started.
You take a look at the wealthiest people in Canada. There's one thing you're going to find in common with them all. They're all entrepreneurs. They've all started businesses, and the vast majority of them are in real estate investing. And I want to give you a couple quick little tips that you can use if you want to break out of the grind, if you want to get away from your job, if you want to go out and create a true legacy for yourself. There's a couple of tips I want to tell you. Firstly, everything will evolve as your mind evolves. Now, at 54 years old, it's easy for me to look back and say this was a big thing for me. But when you're in your 20s and your 30s and you're trying to bust out of it, taking the time to read books and listen to podcasts is going to be tough. But you got to do it. That's what I did. I had amazing mentors. And I've got some amazing books right here. I've got books all around me all the time. And it's things like this. The Apple Revolution with Steve Jobs, how he did it. How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less. Just amazing books. Personality Plus by Florence Littauer. This is the Bible of getting people to know you. And I read these books several times. And even out in the hallway here, my other library is now getting unpacked. Here's the next thing that I want to tell you about and get you in the habit of doing. It's where I'm sitting right now. So obviously things have evolved for me and things are going well. And this is my home office. We're down in the lower level of my house. I built this little enclave for myself. There's my guitar. I pick it up every day and play, whether I like it or not. No, I'm not going to play for you right now. Pictures of the family, the reasons why I did everything that I did in my life. Just amazing. And then of course, there's my workstation. At home every day at 6 o'clock in the morning, long before most of the people that work on my team are out of bed, I'm here. I'm planning out my day. I'm catching up with emails. I'm sending messages out that I need to send out. I'm checking on the revenue that our companies did the day before, and I'm planning everything out. I've got a place where I can read in my office. I still have a lot of artwork to put on the walls because I'm just moving into this office. But here's the big thing that I want to talk to you about. Everything is about setting the condition. And I think that's probably the moral of this video, setting the condition. If you want to change your life, if you want to make more money in your life, you have to decide that it's the most important thing for you to do. I remember in the early days when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I was actually a police detective. And it was not unusual for me to work 10 or 12-hour days as I was doing that job. But my wife told me that she was pregnant and I wanted to break the grind. I wanted to get out of it. So I started some small businesses. Long before I actually quit my job and started the mortgage company, I literally started a property management business where I was managing condominiums in Ottawa, Canada. Now, I had a schedule where I would work 5 days on and 4 days off. And the 4 days off, I worked every day. I bought a pickup truck. I had a little office at home. My office at home back then was in a closet. So I literally opened up this closet in the hallway and there was a little desk built into it. And I set it all up so that I could work on my property management business. And within a year, I was looking after 25 condos. I was looking after 3 buildings that were 5 units each and another individual 10 condos. And I would do all the maintenance at the condos. For the ones where I opened, I looked after the whole buildings. These condominium buildings had garages that you drive into. I'd be down there with a pressure washer, washing the floors once a week. I'd wash people's cars as a bonus. They wanted to replace the skylights in their individual units. I did all that. I brought in a couple guys to help me, and I did all the work in the condos. And it was exhausting. And it meant I was sacrificing time with my family. It meant I was sacrificing time with my friends, but I kept working. Why? Because I wanted to develop those skills. I wanted to make more money. Now, if you're sitting listening to me, if you're still listening to me, that means you're seriously interested in making more money in your life and not dying broke. There's a couple things that are just super important for me to share with you, for you to understand. It's going to be about sacrifice. It's going to be about doing the things that you don't want to do today so that you can do the things you want to do tomorrow. And you're going to have to go out and literally work at it, right? Like you're going to have to go out and fight. I'm just going to set this phone down here. It makes all the difference in the world if you do that. You're going to have to be the one that goes out and fight. So there's one piece of advice that I was given 20 years ago about this entrepreneurial journey that I want to share. And it's a mindset piece. And I don't often get into mindset coaching or even talking about the mindset you need to have, but I think it's incredibly important for me to do this with you right now. And here's the piece of advice. You need to have a why that'll make you cry. If you're going to succeed, if you've got a job right now and you're not happy with the money that you're making and you want to start a business or you want to get into entrepreneurship, because that's the last bastion of free enterprise. That's the only way that you're going to make any money at all, and life-changing income, is to become an entrepreneur. That means you're going to have to start working beyond that 9 to 5. It was Jim Rohn who said, work on your job from 9 to 5, work on your life from 5 to 9. And it's even more than that. I remember in the early days of this, I'd be working at 3 in the morning trying to do billing and paperwork because I was out working on condos every day. And I had to go into work at 7 o'clock in the morning back to my job. That's just what it's going to take. So then the question really becomes, how do you keep yourself focused on that entrepreneurial endeavor and making money in the middle of all the monotony of life? This is my favorite piece of advice, the best piece of advice I was ever given. You have to have a why that makes you cry. See, I grew up poor. Well, I didn't grow up poor, but we didn't have a lot. My dad was in the Navy. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. But my dad taught me work ethic. My dad took his job really seriously. He sacrificed everything in his life to stay committed to his job. And I adopted that trait. And it took me till I was 54 years old to realize how much my dad actually taught me. But what kept me going over all these years is that I wanted to break the trend. There's a book, I don't know if I have it here in front of me, that I want you to read. It's called Becoming a Better You, and it was written by a pastor from Texas. I was just wondering if it was on my bookshelf here. In that book, Becoming a Better You, Joel Osteen, the author, he explains about heredity. And we all know what that word heredity means. Heredity means like illness, disease, and disorder, right? Some diseases and disorders that we get come from our parents and their parents. It's a hereditary nature type of disease or disorder, like diabetes can run in people's families. But he put a spin on the word heredity, and he talked about wealth, and he talked about you becoming better and making more money. And what he said was, if you aren't happy with the money you're making right now and you're not wealthy, look back in your lineage. Look back in the generations before you. Look back to your father and your grandfather and your great-grandfather and your great-great-grandfather. Go back as far as you can. And you know what you're going to find? Nobody's been wealthy. And when he presented that idea to me, I literally went back 7 generations in my family, and I couldn't find anybody that had been wealthy. And that fueled me. That made me decide I was going to be the person that breaks the trend, becomes the first wealthy person in my family. And then I was going to be able to pass that information on. I was going to set a new hereditary track for my kids. They would be wealthy, and their kids would be wealthy, and so on and on and on. So as I read through the book, the next thing he said, now that you've decided and you understand it and you're going to break the trend, you have to have a why that makes you cry. You have to have a reason to do what you're doing, that every time things get tough and you want to quit, you won't be allowed to quit. You won't let yourself quit. You have to have a reason for the things that you're doing that make you want to fight when it gets tough. And I'm going to show you my reason. It's right here. There's my reason. Look at that picture right there. Look at that old picture from the RCMP. Anyway, right there. It's the things, it's my kids. That's what did it for me. I realized that there's nobody else that was going to do this for me, that I had to do it. And that if I succeeded, I would change my kids' lives and I'd change my family's heredity. And I did it. And I'm still working on it. Listen, things aren't perfect in my businesses. Things are still growing. Things are coming along. But I won't ever stop. At 54 years old, I own 7 companies. Today we have about 70 employees. We're about to open our first major resort, which will mean we'll be hiring another 30 employees in that business. And we're on a track. I'm on a track where I can create a legacy for my family, for my kids, and completely change everything forever. Anyway, the moral to this story is, if you are truly interested in making more money in your life, number 1, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm constantly giving you ideas and advice and everything else on that channel. But number 2, you've got to decide to make the sacrifices now.